Yak got the high side, and Kronk was down low. That's where he was.
And he had been fast down there.
Fast down low. All of a sudden, in the middle of 3 and 4,
it was at the apex out.
We're like, Corey's sitting there, and I just saw his reaction. I just kind of followed with it, and all of a sudden, it's like, you felt. I mean, you literally felt the crowd, you felt the box, you felt everything, just within thousands.
It was
a
a
second.
nuclear explosion at the stripe.
It was crazy because here comes Kyle Yak way on the outside. I mean, he's got this car. If this car isn't bent in the middle, I'll be very surprised.
At one point, I think Kyle might have had his right rear tire in the third row.
I believe he did.
I mean, he was up there.
There were sparks coming off of turn number 4. Him and his, duct tape numbers. I asked Corey later. I said, I wonder what makes that car fast. He says, new duct tape he says, old duct tape is better than new duct tape. I said, why is that? Because old duct tape falls off and it gets lighter.
No, I said old duct tape has half the glue. It's a little bit lighter.
Oh, yeah.
We were laughing. So, but you know what was really cool was, and this is something, I mean, on our side, talking about our side was really cool, was after Kyle got the win, and it was a great finish.
Oh, it was an amazing
it was
finish.
A fantastic finish for the fans.
Just got the word. It's .186 seconds difference.
Wow. So that's next to nothing. So I remember looking over after the race, all the cars have gone through. Debbie's checked the scoring list, and she's sitting there at her computer
crying.
She's got tears. I mean, she's happy. She's got a smile on her face, but she's got tears going down her face. And I just remember looking at her thinking, that's got to be a pretty cool thing.
That's the first time she's hugged me. It's the first time she was nice.
It was cool.
She's awesome because she'll come up there and she'll look every single time I come down, and she messes with me so much. And she looks over and she goes,
"You're here
what
again."
the hell?
Yeah, you're here.
So she'll put her she'll put her, she has
she puts earplugs in.
Earplugs in, and then she'll sit there and she'll look because as soon as Corey and I start, so she'll go and she'll grab earmuffs and she'll put those over, and then she turns around. I'm like, "You miss me, huh?" She goes, I hate you guys.
She goes, "I hate you announcers. I can't stand you announcers. You guys talk too much." So, but all in all, the whole experience of that night is something that I'll tell you and I will never forget.
It was a cool night.
Chris, you gave the racing community, you gave the fans a show that will be talked about for many, many years.
So for those last laps, what was the backstretch? What was the pits like?
Oh, there wasn't one person sitting. Everyone was on their feet. They were just watching this race unfold, and I mean the whole entire race was 3-4 wide. You can see people coming out of turn 4, and
we saw 5 wide in turns 1 and 2 at one
trying
point.
to slide job each other. That was crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Incredible.
So as let's go with the racer's mentality right now. So as a racer, of course you wanted to be out there. You weren't having to sit in the stands and stuff from the time of the green flag to the time of the checkered. What were you as a racer thinking?
Well, I had one of my teammates out there, which was Evan Britton out of Cottage Grove, and we were keeping an eye on him. He ended up getting a flat, so we went and helped him out. But I mean, if anyone came in the pits, we were willing to help anybody out.
Mm-hmm.
Just doing my part, just keeping an eye on everybody. And I know every single one of those guys out there. They were all my friends, and I just wanted the best for all of them. I knew that Kronk was going to be out front, and I knew that Yak was going to be out front. And then there you had Joey Tanner, and Colin was right there too. And, I just wanted to be out there with those guys.
So,
the truth.
So then as a promoter of this race, at the very end, knowing, hey, it's $5,300, or basically what by the time it was done, it's $5,400 and some change. Did that give you goosebumps knowing that, that this just happened?
If I'm standing corrected, I think that's the biggest payout for any class for any race this year.
Absolutely.
Besides like the World of Outlaws or any of the other big touring series.
Because the biggest race was a $5,000 to win show at Willamette.
For street stocks.
Yeah, no, for late models.
For late models.
That was the late model.
Yeah.
That was the Clear Cup.
That was the Clear Cup paid $5,000 for a late model show.
5,000 late models, and we put $5,400 and some change for street stock.
Yeah.
Do you think the purse for $100 should change?
I bet it does.
I mean, because now you're going to go back next week and go, well, you're off next week, but you're going to sit there and you're going to go back to Willamette and go, oh wow, here's $100. Thanks, guys. this goes to some fuel, and Kyle acts like that's chump change.
Yeah. Well, last year we.
Well, let's real quick. I want to talk about Kyle Yak because he's got this car that they call the Rat Rod. Now, that's a good race car. Okay, I know they pulled it out of the bushes a couple years.
Right before
8
the wall
months.
banger
Yeah,
cup.
right for a wall banger.
You know
they
what?
pulled out of the bushes.
Listen, I don't think they pulled it out of the bushes. I think what happened is
No,
that's
they
probably
did.
a brand new car.
No.
They went to the junkyard, found some old body panels, kind of roughed it up a little bit, threw some
You would think.
crappy duct tape, and called it.
You would think.
That car's been on its lid. Corey
yeah.
drove it, and it flipped over, and you
And
can
they
see the
lit-
roof's all
they
mashed
You
did.
in.
flipped it?
No.
Oh.
Corey, yeah.
Corey, yeah.
But no,
Oh.
they did pull that car. It was sitting behind their shop out
Yeah.
there. They did pull it out of the bushes. They cleaned it up, and they updated some stuff on their car. I mean, it's no.
Didn't
The
update
name
duct
Rat
tape
Rod
numbers.
goes more towards the appearance. I mean, that's not, it's not a car that they pulled out of a wrecking yard and put some old, 80, 89 octane fuel in and went out and won a big race. 2 races this year, that race car has brought in $8,000 in purse money.
That thing needs to be
Between
up
the
on a wall
banger,
somewhere.
between the wall banger and the Iron Giant, that car has collected $8,000
What?
For street stocks.
for street stock races.
So Sam is sitting there, and he's
Look
got
at this
both
dude.
dogs.
He's got the
He's
dogs
got
hanging out,
his
and
shoes.
He's kicked back in the Chase recliner.
I gotta get somebody's got to get a picture of this and stuff.
Sam, get out of my chair.
So,
So you think
So,
about
Chris,
$8,000
Yeah.
for this car.
right.
Like Sam said, he needs to be up on a wall because that's where he runs it, is up on top of the wall.
He's good on the
I
top
mean,
side.
he does that with with his modified and everything else. So I wouldn't even take the dirt off that car if that car is that fast.
I don't think they have.
Yeah, I don't think they have. I don't think they ever washed it.
But why? If it's not broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, the car has been awesome, but let's go back to that Iron Giant because Chris said something a couple minutes ago that kind of it sparked something. Was when early, I think it was like lap 2 or 3, when Williamson got a flat tire,
Yeah.
pulled off the track.
We're
under
talking
caution.
about the 7W.
Now, you guys,
Yes.
you were
Mhm.
you were on their pit crew that helped
yeah.
change. Okay, so you were out there helping that car get ready.
For sure.
Got the tire changed, got him back on the track, and Williamson, I mean, during that race was probably the most fun car on the track to watch because he went from dead last into the top 5, and he's going 3-4 wide. I mean, he was on a mission.
Dude, he
Yeah.
was hooked. Now, when I talk about hooked, he was packing a left front tire probably 6 to 8 inches off the ground. He had that car so wound up on the top side that it was just
But
it was
Kevin's
it was
he's
insane.
he's a good race car driver. But I
Yes.
can tell you, I have never seen him drive that hard.
Yeah, he's definitely got a Williamson in him. That's for sure.
No kidding.
He's not scared of that wall. I've seen him hit that wall quite a few times, and he just bounces
Keeps
right off
on
and keeps
trucking.
on going.
Yep.
But yeah, he just put that car together this winter. That's a brand new car. All these other cars that have been racing out there, they're all veteran cars that have been racing for years
Now-
and years.
Well, and he's
And
fast
it's
out of the
interesting
box,
you
too.
bring, yeah, and it's interesting you bring that up. And you're right, he was fast. As soon as he got the track unloaded, he was fast. But here, when they posted that car before race season started, they put a picture of it on Facebook. I saw that car and I went, okay, what's going on? These guys know what they're doing. They always got a good car. They're always fast. And I looked at that car and I thought, why would they build that car that way? The way it sets that race car is so high off the ground. I mean, it's like I'm thinking he's gonna roll it into the corner and tip this thing over. It's so tall. It works.
It worked.
I mean, for a car, because like your Camaro does not sit that high off the ground. You guys are pretty low. And with roll centers and all that stuff. I don't understand. I just don't understand how they're making that race car work the way they do, as high as that thing sits.
Those metric cars are totally different than the leaf spring cars. I mean, they're completely different all the way around. But look at Yak's car last year. That thing sat way high too. I pulled up
Right.
beside that thing.
Valid point.
I mean, he sat 8 inches higher
Yeah.
than me. His roof is way taller
Way.
than my car.
Yep.
Yeah, compared to your guys' cars, Kevin's has a lift kit on it.
It,
it really
looks
does.
like it.
But you start going back and start thinking about weight transfer.
Right.
And with the dry slick we run around here, the height might play into a little bit of weight transfer there. It might be playing into something. I'm not going to give all my speed secrets away on the air, but there's something to think about.
Well, it is, and it's a deal. But you just look at that race car, and physically looking at it, you just kind of go, "What?" Really. I mean, how is that? Because that honestly, I mean, other than the car that you talk about, the Yak was in, I don't think I've ever seen a car that sat that high work that well. And that night, I mean, you want to talk about fun to watch. As he made his way from the back towards the front, got into the top 5, things started getting pretty exciting. Once he got to the top 5, was a whole different ball game because there was some bad news up there. And you're talking about some fast cars.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent up there, that's for sure.
And you had Kronk, you had Yak, you had
Weinbarger, Tanner.
Tanner was up there to 36. I mean, those 4 guys right there were,
How many main events have they won? Championships have those guys won?
that was a, yeah.
Well, see, that's the thing, too. I mean, you talk about some of the top drivers. Kronk, the next night, too, he was fast. Won the A main.
He did.
And
won the dash.
He swept it.
Yeah, he swept
Yeah,
it. I mean,
he did.
was just, he was on a mission. He sat there, and when I talked to him in Victory Lane, because I asked him, I said, hey, do you want it? He says, nope. I sat there, and I said, wow. I said, for somebody, I said, that just, it's a bad thing all the way around to lose that. But he says, I just had something, I have something to prove. I am the fastest guy out here.
Well, and that's when at Trophy Dash time, he won the dash, and I was walking towards him. He looks at me, and I said, I'm not even going to bring up yesterday. And he goes, please don't.
Yeah.
And then but you know what? I got to give the guy credit because he still had a smile on his face. He was still having fun driving the race car, and it happened yesterday.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. It happened yesterday.
It's like, a race car driver is like any other athlete, whether you're a quarterback that just threw an interception or a running back that fumbled, you got to have a short memory. Yeah. Okay.
That's what I did the next day, too, because I got second the next day.
You were wheeling.
That's
buddy.
right, man. You
were
had that
wheeling.
car. I don't know, from night 1 to night 2, that car almost seemed like it was a different animal.
You know what was different? Was the mentality in the seat because he came out like Kronk had something to prove.
That's exactly it. We went back to the old setup. I put new tires on it for that Iron Giant, and I went back to my old setup, and I was like, all right, we're just going to run that high side. I looked fast earlier in the night. I was kind of watching the track and just stuck with it. Got to the high side as fast as I could and stuck with it.
Well, and you know what else happened on Sunday night that happened on Saturday night?
What's that?
Lap 1, W7, flat tire.
Oh, and that's the same thing. We were at Williamson.
Yeah. Guess where he finished on Sunday?
Third.
Third.
Yeah,
Yeah,
third. He
third,
came
yeah.
all the way up to third.
Third.
Yeah, it
all the
was
way back.
Yeah, it was. He was on a rail. When he comes up to Sunset and everything else, he's bad fast and stuff.
He's
there.
fast everywhere he goes. He's like that 24 car.
Well, this is the weird part about it is the only person who I thought that I was really, really looking forward to being up in the top 5 and everything else. That was our current points leader of Arnie Case. Just the whole weekend was not his weekend.
Well, when you've got that many good cars, something's got to give somewhere. And it wasn't anything Arnie did. It was just simply the level of competition. And
it's being in the right place at the right time. You literally had to,
Right.
especially the Iron Giant, you had to pick and choose every spot, every move, because those guys, you're talking about it, 5 wide down the front stretch, where are you going to go?
But at the same time,
24 cars on the track.
Yeah.
Right, 24 cars on the track for 50 laps. You sit, and you just said it. You got to pick and choose where you go. But you had to make those choices right now. The pace of that race was so fast. There was no time to, there was no time to say, okay, well, let's just kind of hang out here for 5 laps.
Yeah, you couldn't hang out. You couldn't hang out
It
nowhere.
was go time right now from green to, to the checkered flag. That was one of those deals where there was money on the line, and everybody was going for it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too. You talk about, now they knew, even $3,000 to win, but now all those drivers, 24 of those drivers knew that each one of them, and we've seen all night long.
There was
all night
anybody in
long
that field had a real shot to win that money.
It was anywhere from 2 laps to 3 laps, or even the last lap. Anybody could still win it. We saw people that were driving 8th, 9th, to 10th come up caution flag, and guess where they finished?
Yeah.
3rd.
Yeah.
So, it was one of those nights and everything else that you didn't know, and you had to be at the right place, right time for the money. You just had to. And it's cool because Willamette Speedway brings out that in the drivers, brings out that in, all of these guys to perform, the top best.
Mm-hmm.
But with that said,
let's go to commercial.
Yeah, we're going to go to a little bit of commercial.
So we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with another one of our guests in studio, Scott Engler. We're going to talk a little bit about what he does and how he can help some of you guys out there. We'll be right back here on Northwest Dirt News on Springer Radio.
Want to say thank you so much for
Chris
Chris
is going to
Sine.
stick around. He's not going anywhere. He's hanging out all night.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, well, hammer down.
I'm here.
See,
Let's do it.
that's good deal. So we will. With that, we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Corey with my wife Sandy. We'd like to invite you to Jetstream Aqua Massage. At Jetstream, you get a quality massage, nobody touches you, and you don't get wet. Best of all, it's only $1 per minute. Come see what it's all about.
I've been coming in here about 3 times a week for the last 6 months, and it's just a whole new world when I walk out of here.
I highly recommend this place. $20